Am I a creep or a weirdo? Some people think so. Stick with me and I'll tell you why. Welcome to another episode of iCantCU, your window into a world where blindness doesn't dictate ability. My name is David, at David Benj on all the socials. Thank you so much for being with me today, and welcome inside Studio B. Still very messy to my right, your left, if you are watching at home. Now, why would some people think I'm a creep or a weirdo? I know you're looking at me and wondering, yeah, duh. Here's why. Last week, there was a story that came out about folks that wear the Meta Ray-Bans and any other smart glasses. And there are some people out there that use them for, I don't know what the word is, less than proper ways. And a lot of folks have jumped on that bandwagon where, oh, it's a surveillance state, too many people watching. I'm not the only one, and I don't have them on now. The sunglasses I have on now are those $15 ones that Jane bought me from Amazon in a blue shade. And I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check those out. I also have them in a yellow shade, but Liz didn't like that yellow shade. But I do have the Ray-Bans right here, and I'll get to that in a second. And just held them up with my right hand. A lot of people think that anybody that wears any of the smart glasses that can record video or shoot images are creeps or weirdos because they're using them for pictures of folks maybe at less than ideal situations. And obviously, they don't know folks in the blind community who use them to get from point A to point B, to help find a sign, to help find a way out, to help find the restroom, whatever they use them for. They're not using them for the reasons that some of the creeps and weirdos are, but we're lumped into that same group. And we talked about it on That Real Blind Tech Show in the last episode, and I'll link to that down below in the description or in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast. And that is quite a funny show, by the way. So if you've never listened to That Real Blind Tech Show, give it a listen. Again, the link to the show will be down below, and you can check it out for yourself. It's kind of like listening to a morning radio show without without music. There's really no music. Although in this latest episode, my friend Brian went to Bon Jovi and had recorded some from the show. So there is some of that there. I don't want to get into the legalities of that, but it is what it is. And the show is very funny. Just check it out. But the discussion we had, one of them who was dead set against it was Lord, who is an anti-Semite who I won't listen to on the radio. Liz turns it the minute she comes on. I take a minute before before I will change the channel. But she is so much against it. She even complained about it during a show that was sponsored by Ray-Ban Meta. Ray-Ban or Meta. I think it was Meta, actually. She complained about it. Now, here's the person who is sponsoring the show, and she's railing against them because it's a surveillance state. And to our point, all of us that were on that episode, myself, Brian, and Allison, there are a million cameras out there that capture so many things that happen, whether it's in a city where there's an explosion, you've got traffic cams, you've got the doorbell cameras, anymore when people are talking about a news event, 9 times out of 10, they have video of it. And if it's not video of, let's say, a house exploding, it's the sound that you can hear because it was only a block away. I know that when something happens around here, I will go back to that time on our Nest doorbell camera to see if it picked up anything, if it's a sound. So it's something that they're just all around. Whether I have these glasses on my face, I don't necessarily always record. I record from time to time when I have them on, or take an image from time to time, especially if I'm not sure what's in front of me, and I will snap an image so that I can look at it later on, either on my computer or take it into Be My Eyes and say, hey, what's this thing here or that thing there? And so to lump everyone into that weirdo, creep whatever you want to call them, category is just so wrong. It is absolutely wrong because these are something that are a very useful tool to folks in the blind community. I can't tell you, you can go back and look at even recent episodes where I talked about it when I was in Orlando in January, and it helped me get out of the airport once I got off the plane. It helped me get around the hotel in the convention area when I was at Podfest. So there's something that are very, very useful to us. Now, I'm not saying, and there was another story, I don't think it was on this most recent episode, where Meta said they might start testing them always recording. And I always wonder about that because when I was in the airport in Austin, and I'll tell you about Austin in a little bit, I had the Ray-Ban Metas on because I wanted to read the signs of maybe some of the stores that were around or places to get something to eat. But I went into the men's room, and I always think about it when I'm using the urinal. You know, if I look down when I'm reaching for my fly, is it recording? Even though it might not be. Just like the A lady is always listening. It doesn't have to hear you say, hey, A lady, blah, 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 blah. It's listening for that. So it's always recording, and you can request all those recordings from Amazon. Now, that information is as of about 8 months to a year ago where you could get those recordings. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if they've stopped, but it's got to be listening for you to say, hey, A lady. And sometimes our A lady will just answer even if we say some other word. That's a whole nother story. So to lump everybody into that creep and weirdo category is just wrong, especially for Lord. I can't tell you how much. When she came onto the scene back, I think Jane was still in high school when she came onto the scene, and she was, I think she might be around the same age as Jane. It was a big deal for this girl, and I believe she's from New Zealand, and, you know, now she's just gotten such a higher than thou opinion of herself that what she says is right and the Jews are bad and whatever the case may be, whatever. But to lump the blind community into that creep and weirdo, I guarantee you that most blind and low vision folks that are using the Ray-Ban Metas or the Oakley Metas or the Jenner Metas or whatever other brand you're using, the Rokit, whatever. If they're blind or low vision, they don't know that they're taking a picture of you, maybe bent over, tying your shoe where maybe your underwear is visible. I wouldn't know. Now, if I took a picture and went back later on, maybe I'd be able to tell either on my big monitor or if I went into Be My Eyes and said, what am I looking at here? But it's just wrong. And it was just something that, again, everybody gets lumped in. I'm not saying we're victims, but we're not creeps and weirdos. So let us use our very assistive tech device. Now, while I'm mentioning the Ray-Ban Metas, I got a comment on one of my videos within the last week that the person was mad I never put on the glasses that I was talking about. And I don't remember if it was a Ray-Ban Meta situation. In fact, I'll even take them out of the case just to show you because the guy was mad I never put them on. Here they are, Ray-Ban Meta, first gen. Sorry if hitting the mic made a little bit of a noise. But I'm wearing these other glasses because these lights here in Studio B really, really bother me. As I've said a million times, I don't see much, but I see glare like you wouldn't believe. So these will not change under artificial lights. When I go outside and put them on, if the sun's out, yeah, they'll change. And when Jane and I were talking about it, as Jane said, any dialogue in the comments section over on YouTube is good. So I'm kind of shocked and nobody said, hey, you're ugly. So if you think that, put it down in the comments. If you said, hey, it looks like you have sweet potatoes in your hair, and I don't have very much hair, but if I do, it's from Ziggy because he likes to lick my head. Anything you write in the comments is welcome. So if you're listening on the podcast, go over to the video on YouTube and write something, anything, whatever you think. I don't care. I will respond to it. I will respond to it. So go ahead over there. So that's why I mentioned that. Now, I mentioned Austin. And earlier in July, I was in Austin for the National Federation of the Blind National Convention. And I have to be honest, I was not really, really psyched for going. Liz wasn't going because of Ziggy, and I've got a Ziggy update coming up. So I know it was going to be a lot of work, and I didn't know how much work it was going to be because I had to worry more about the exhibit hall table this year than I did in the last couple of years because Liz really helped out in the last couple of years. Liz isn't interested in going to some of the sessions and doing all the things at convention, so she was happy to do that. And I knew that there weren't as many people going this year to Austin as that went to last year to New Orleans or the year before in Orlando. Some of that might have been, as I mentioned in my last episode, I was one of the few people, and I guess most of the folks in the Philadelphia area who went to the convention. It was over the 4th of July. Who leaves Philadelphia, the epicenter of 4th of July on the 250th anniversary of our country's founding, or the semi-quincentennial? I just love those words. It was just kind of weird doing that. And so we didn't have a lot of folks like we've had in the past where there have been a lot of people that could run the table. But it worked out. It was fine. I worked a shift on my own for 2 or 3 hours, and it was not a problem. We sold chocolate-covered pretzels, and we sold hand-crocheted shawls. That's S-H-A-W-L. Evidently, I've been saying it wrong for the last 59 or 60 years since I learned to speak. S-H-A-W-L. It's not a shawl like Brad Shaw. It's a shawl. S-H-A-W-L. So thank you for everybody that has corrected me over the last month. We were selling those that our president, Lynn Heights, had created, and the shawls really sold because it was so cold in that hotel. You needed something. Even guys were buying them. Now, some were buying them for their significant other or a mother or a sister or whatever, but most of the ones that were sold for folks to use in the hotel because it was so cold. The other funny thing about the temperature, a lot of folks complained, oh, it's going to be so hot in Austin in July. For the first 3 or 4 days we were down there, it was hotter in Philadelphia by 5 degrees or more than it was in Austin. Now, after the 4th or 5th day, it swung the other way and was probably hotter in Austin by 4 or 5 degrees minimum. And it's just funny that people don't want to do that. But I wasn't really excited to go because I knew it was going to be a lot of work. I knew I had the exhibit hall table. I'm responsible for a few other things. I had to make sure things got rung up right at the exhibit hall table. So I had that. And I was just really worried about all of this stuff happening without Liz to kind of back me up, to count the money, to do all the other stuff. And it worked out. We had enough volunteers to work some shifts that when I needed to do some of the other stuff, Michelle and one of her friends covered, and they actually covered for over 2 hours. And so it just all worked out. We sold out of the pretzels after the second full day, which was great because in Texas, you can sell tax-free for 48 hours, 2 days. After that, if you make a sale, quote unquote, you've got to pay sales tax. Now, the way around that is to not charge a figure for the pretzels. Let's say you can have these pretzels, the suggested donation amount is X or Y, but that's the suggested amount. If you say the suggested amount is $10 and somebody says, well, I got 5, here's 5, I'll take the pretzels. That's the risk that you run when you do it that way. The shawls were $40, so we certainly didn't want to do that on those. And I think we ended up having 3 or 4 left over, but we didn't do the exhibit hall table after the second full day because it just wasn't worth sitting there to sell 3 shawls and some hats and scarves. The hats and scarves didn't sell as well as the shawls. And I don't remember how many shawls we sold, but it was quite a few. And so it worked out well. And again, the most important part, which was one of my main concerns, was moving the pretzels. We had 40 half-pound bags of dark, 30 half-pound bags of milk chocolate, and then we had 30 containers of peanut brittle. The peanut brittle was good, not as good as the kind Liz makes, which I really, really like. But we sold all those after the first 2 days, so we were good. And the shawls, obviously, we could sell at other events. Anything left over there. The pretzels and the peanut brittle we can't because, they're perishable after a certain amount of time. The food and the smells around Austin were just outstanding. I walked to a little bodega around the corner from the hotel one night. I'm still feeling a little of the whatever I picked up the second or third day in Austin. I walked to this little bodega to get ginger shots, which I absolutely love. I usually drink one a day here at home, but obviously I didn't have any there. So I walked around the corner to see if they had them, and they did. And I bought a couple, so I had them for the last 2 days I was there. But just walking down the street, the smell of barbecue was so good. All the food was so flavorful. All of it, of course, had some spice to it. The hotel restaurant, I think it was called Corner Restaurant or something like that. I had chips and guac there, chips and queso there. Had this salad. It was I forget what they called it, 7-layer salad or something. It came on a salad bowl, but in a plastic container that was upside down on the bowl. So the salad came upside down. So when they served it to you, they kind of just lifted the plastic container off and the salad just fell into the bowl. It was very good. I had that 2 different nights. It was so good. I loved it. And one of the nights that I had a meeting late until 8 o'clock, I kind of had a feeling by that point everybody had eaten. So I kind of knew early on that I was going to go down to this corner restaurant, hopefully get a table out of the way. I had my phone on me. I had my AirPods or earbuds on me that I put. The Americans were playing Belgium in that game, so maybe not very appetizing to listen to, but I was listening before it got too bad. And I had chips and queso, and actually I had chips and guac, and then I got a side of queso because I also ordered fries. So I guess I was carb loading that night, and it was so good. It was just so so good. There's a place down the street from the hotel, the JW Marriott, that had, I think it was called Taco Deli, which had a very cool logo. Jane wanted some merch from there, but they didn't have any in the store. So I don't know. I've never looked up their website to see if they sell it online. It was a very cool logo. It was a skull with some stuff on it. It was good. That was a, quick casual sort of place. We went to Terry Black's Barbecue, which I loved, over a place called Cooper's. I think it was called Cooper's Old Time Barbecue. Difference between the two, Cooper's was 2 doors down from the hotel. So with 2 or 3 minute walk. Terry Black's was probably a 10 or 15 minute car ride away. We went to the Bat Bridge one night. They didn't come out, but we spent about an hour and a half there just waiting for them. And I'm holding my phone. There's people in canoes and kayaks down in the river, the Colorado River, and they're looking up and underneath the bridge where the bats, I'm assuming, are hanging. And we're looking down from on top of the bridge, and they never came out. The president, Lynn Heights, and I left after about an hour and a half. Another couple of folks stayed, and they never ended up coming out. Usually they come out around dusk, and that night they just didn't all fly out for whatever reason. Maybe they were full. But it was just a really nice time, and I learned a lot of things, saw some friends, met some new friends, and it's just a good thing to go to. Even if you're not a member of the National Federation of the Blind, you can go. It's only $25 to register. If you go and you're not a member of the NFB and you don't want to listen to that sort of stuff, or go to general sessions where they talk about different things, and I'll give you my favorite my favorite quote of all the speakers, which is when you hear it, you'll laugh. If you're not a member, you can still go. You get the NFB room block. We're going to be there again next year, JW Marriott. I believe the dates are July 2nd through July 7th. You can't book your hotel yet. I think it starts at the beginning of the year. But I would highly recommend going, even if you're not a member of the NFB, just to see the different seminars that happen before general sessions and the board meeting and stuff like that. All the tech companies are there. There's obviously an exhibit hall where you can try the different smart glasses. Giga was there. So many folks were there. I bought a backpack, a FEELDOM backpack. Oh, I have it right here, actually. I was going to buy it last year, and I told Liz before I left, if they were there this year, I was going to buy it. Now, I'm holding it up. It looks like it's a zebra striped. It's black and white, but the black that you see is actually Velcro. I was told that I knew the U.S. Blind Baseball Association was sponsored by FEELDOM, where they all got backpacks. But I also found out that Blind Travel Foundation was sponsored by them, and all the folks who won their scholarships also got them. And where that Velcro is, evidently, you can get the logo on there. So I'm going to try and get my logo for that. A nice blue, maybe whether it's a square or a circle with a white iCantCU logo on it. I'm excited for that. I'll give it a use for the first time next week. I'll be in Lancaster. Now, I mentioned General Sessions. And if you're not familiar, there's an artist named Lachi. She has albums out. She's got a couple of books coming out. She had my favorite line of the entire convention. And she was complaining about how people use the words again, like I had mentioned in the last episode, people don't say blind. They say, instead of disability, they say diff-ability, like different ability. And she said, the word special needs, I have special needs, but they're in the bedroom. They have nothing to do with me not being able to see. And I just thought that was hysterical, and everybody started laughing. But that was my favorite line, and that will stick with me probably forever. But overall, it was a good trip to Austin. Coming home, our flight was delayed by a few hours because of weather here in Philadelphia. But we got home safe and sound. Some folks didn't get home until the next day because their flights were canceled. Traveling anymore always seems to be an issue. So a couple-hour delay wasn't a big deal, I guess. So it was good to get home when I did. Ziggy was really excited to see me. So while I'm speaking about Ziggy, let me give you an update. As you know, he's been battling lymphoma since the beginning of the year, where he was given 12 to 16 months. So we're about 6 or 7 months in at this point, as we are about to turn into August. And what we found out at the beginning, once he starts the chemo, it pretty much, the lymphoma goes into remission, which is great, and it has. But the chemo is just killing him with all sorts of issues, stomach issues. His white blood count was low a couple of times, so there's been times over the six rounds of treatment that he had to skip. He is now, like I said, on his 6th round. I had 5 fingers up, and I had to realize I had to take my other hand out to make a 6. He's in the 6th and final round of treatments. Today, recording this on the 29th of July, he had his 2nd of 3 treatments. It's 3 weeks on and then a week off. Now, once next week's treatment happens, then he's done the treatments, and there's maintenance throughout the rest of his life. Because what will happen, he'll get some things that help him out, but the cancer will come back, and that'll eventually, win. So just and I know tonight he didn't feel great. We took him on a walk, and I don't go on walks too much with him because it's hard for Liz to watch him and watch me, because I don't typically always sweep when I'm with her and walking behind. So sometimes I'll trip over the sidewalk when it's not level. I'll hold my cane out, but just so I don't, if somebody's coming the other way, they know that I can't see. I'm not intentionally running them over. But I went on a walk with them tonight, and he was okay. But I can just tell the last couple of days, he just hasn't felt great. And it's usually 2 or 3 days after the treatment where he starts to feel really bad. And to me today, he was already feeling that way. So he's been on some other meds. He actually spent the night, I don't know if it was, I think it was before this 6th round started, he spent the night at the vet because he had some issues going on. His temperature was elevated. They were afraid he had some sort of infection. In fact, they only kept him one night because they were afraid being around the other dogs could create more of an issue, because the cancer would limit his ability to fight any other thing. So he spent a night there. But I'm pretty sure the 5th round went in succession, 1, 2, 3, and then it was after that third treatment of the 5th round that he didn't feel well, and then he spent the night. He wasn't eating for a while. I mean, his weight has been yo-yoing like you wouldn't believe. He's been as high as 80, pounds. He's been as low as 65. That was early on. And today he was 35.2 kilos at 77 pounds and change. I don't remember the exact conversion, but they weigh him in kilos. So he's doing okay. He's not himself, although he is jumping up on the counter looking for food. And now, at least, when he wasn't feeling well, he was not doing that. He tried to eat a paper towel the other day that he found on the floor in Studio B, actually to my immediate right and behind the trash can. I didn't realize I had missed. And he did find his way back over there through all the all the junk that's over there. So he's doing okay. But we know what's coming, and it's going to be hard. Liz is starting back full time at school in a couple of weeks. The 24th is her first full day, and begins her first full week. I don't think the kids are there that week. I think the kids start the following week. But it's going to be difficult because there are times that I need to be places. So Liz is going to have to take off. There's times that Ziggy has to go to the vet or the groomer or whatever, or has to go to her own doctor. So it's going to be rough the last half of the year because I've got a few places that I have to be at, the state convention in Hershey in November and a couple other places. So I try to limit that, but next week, because Liz is off, it's, and at home for the most part, I'll be in Lancaster at an event. We'll be at an exhibit hall table for the NFB of PA for 2 days, the 5th and 6th of August. A couple of weeks later, I'll be in Hershey to check out the hotel because they're going to be doing some construction, and we have to move our main room from Cocoa Terrace and Cocoa 1 to Cocoa 3, 4, and 5. And that's, of course, down the Cocoa hallway, not to be confused with the chocolate hallway or the Kisses hallway. So that'll be at the Hershey Lodge. Been working hard on that, trying to get sponsors. So if you have a business and would love to sponsor, please go over to nfbofpa.org. Up at the top, there is a Donate Now button. Click that button, make a donation, write in the notes that you want to sponsor the 2026 state convention, and one of us, most likely me, will reach out to you if it's for any amount. We're going to ask for your logo so we could put on the website and link back to your webpage. But again, nfbofpa.org if you want to sponsor. If you're interested in going, that's cool too. nfbofpa.org/register, where you can sign up right now. We only have an all-inclusive package that is available. That's $225. It gets you your registration plus 8 meals. So that is, again, the 5th through the 8th of November. Again, working hard on that, trying to get some more sponsors. We kind of gave up trying to go after all the sports teams for things to auction off or to raffle off because we got stuff from the Washington Wild Things, for example. They are a team based in Washington Township, which is all the way at the other end of the state from where I'm standing. And I don't believe there's anybody in our organization that lives out there. So if you win a set of 4 tickets for there, most likely they're going to go unused. And so rather than waste time on that, Liz has been working on some other things to help out. But again, if you have a raffle item, a door prize item, an auction item, which would be great, especially if it's a high value auction item, pair of Meta Ray-Bans, an iPad, whatever, please reach out to me. iCantCU podcast@gmail.com. I'd really appreciate it. And we would love to have that. But that's something I already told Liz she's got to take off the 4th through the 6th of November because I won't be here and we don't like to leave Ziggy by himself for more than an hour or so. So even if we have Lisa come over, who used to come over when we would run places just to let him out, we don't know that that would work because, if he's getting sick and he's in his crate, he's going to have to sit with it for, hours, and we don't want that. So again, anything that you have, if you'd like to donate or provide an auction item, awesome. Please do so. Again, reach out to me, iCantCU podcast@gmail.com. So I am looking forward to going to both Hershey and Lancaster and just to see what's happening. I really love traveling, and I was so disappointed Liz couldn't go with me. Jane had to be in Texas that weekend as well when I was there. She was not in Austin, though. She was in Dallas because Charlotte Tilbury, who she works for, has a partnership with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And she got a little bit of ribbing when they found out she was from Philly, and she had to explain that she is not an Eagles fan. but she is a Ravens fan, and they were okay that she was a Ravens fan. I might have been a little troubling if she were an Eagles fan, though. She's actually going to Austin into Dallas in a week or two to do some more things down there with the cheerleaders. So she couldn't come, so we couldn't leave Ziggy again. We can't leave him. So Liz didn't go, and she was looking forward to going too. She's wanted to go to Austin and again, try all the food. So we'll see what happens with Jane's schedule next year and Ziggy's schedule too. I do appreciate you joining me for this episode of iCantCU. It's number 300. Didn't do anything special because anymore, just recording an episode is special. Again, I do thank you for joining me. Please reach out on social media at David Benj, DavidBenj, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and I'm sure a few other places. But reach out there, or better yet, shoot me an email, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com. You can also call me, leave a voicemail. You've got up to 3 minutes. Number is 646-926-6350. Again, 646-926-6350. 3 minutes. Please leave your name and town if you do leave a voicemail. Better yet, leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a comment there, whatever you want to tell me. I'm ugly. I don't like those glasses. I love those glasses. I just bought every color of those glasses. Whatever, down below in the comments. And I would really appreciate that. You can always check out the article that goes along with this episode over on the website, iCantCU.com/300. Wow, that sounds like a lot. iCantCU.com/300. And remember, iCantCU sounds like a whole sentence, but it's only 7 characters long. iCantCU.com/300. Thanks again for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Be well, stay safe, and I will talk to you in the next episode.